of the so-called Batwoman, Xi Zhenli. What do you think of these latest claims, Doctor?
John, I think they're very important. As I've said for some time, I think the answer to the origin of COVID is going to come from the intelligence community. And I think hopefully next week there's going to be more intelligence released. There has been, I think, strong evidence that there was infections that occurred in the laboratory both in September and November. And we're hearing more specific from these reporters, which I suspect their information is grounded in truth. We'll have to see what the intelligence community releases next week.
Yeah, again, what you're referring to there is a report that was signed off on by President Biden a number of months ago. All of the intelligence regarding the origins of COVID and the Wuhan Institute of Virology is supposed to be declassified, including listing the names of all of the researchers who got sick. If people were getting sick in September, and as you pointed out later that fall in China, and this is 2019, before we had the first cases here, does that, and they came from the Institute, does that suggest that this idea of it originating naturally from the wet market is probably not the plausible cause for this pandemic?
Yeah, John, I've always felt that the wet market narrative was a roost to try to move attention away from the laboratory. I think if you really look critically and at the evidence that we have for spillover, other than some prominent individuals promoting it as what they believe happened, there is really no evidence to support spillover. But there is really growing evidence now that supports that this epidemic started in a laboratory, presumably the Wuhan Institute of Virology. There's also the CDC Virology Institute in Wuhan. Those are the two major laboratories that have been implicated as potentially being the source of this virus.
I have to sneeze.
What?
I have to sneeze.
If you sneeze, it is very important that you clench at the same time. Aaron.
I'm gonna sneeze. I'm gonna clench and sneeze.
Listen to me.
I'm gonna clench and sneeze.
Don't close your eyes. It's impossible to sneeze if your eyes are open. Open your eyes. Is it still in?
I think I broke a rib.
What's up, guys? It's your boy Benny. We do have a news show here, so I'd like to bring you news that is relevant to you. I don't want to do headlines like the Pope is Catholic, or the sun is hot, or water is wet, or COVID-19 came from a Chinese lab, because those are just things that we naturally assume because we have common sense in our head, and because we have actually seen the evidence laid before us. Yes, the sun is made out of molten lava, and it's in space, and it will burn you if you get close to it. Obviously, being a billion miles away from it, you still get burned by the sun. So we assume it's hot, and we assume that China created COVID-19 with the funding of Dr. Fauci, of course. Ladies and gentlemen, now we have that confirmed, as the Wuhan lab scientists were the first ones to catch COVID-19. Now, some of the smartest people in our government, including but not limited to Robert Redfield, who was the damn CDC director, says, oh yeah, Dr. Fauci, that guy, he funded the creation of this bat virus. They created it in a lab because the molecular DNA roadmap of the entire virus, anyone with a microscope can see this is something that's stitched together in a lab. There's not of natural origin. They're lying to you. Everyone's lying. Can we stop with the lies? That's why we're doing this piece. Because it bears repeating how much these mutants lied to you. A new report citing U.S. government sources say that 3 scientists in Wuhan Institute of Virology were the first people to have been infected by COVID-19. The Substack article, authored by Matt Taibbi, Michael Schellenberger, these are the guys from the Twitter files. They're great journalists. Significant new evidence that strengthens the case that SARS-CoV-2 virus escaped from a Wuhan Institute of Virology. It says accidentally. Did it accidentally escape? Is this an accident? According to multiple U.S. government officials interviewed in part by a lengthy investigation public racket, the first people, this is the name of the Substack, the first people infected by the virus, patient 0, include Ben Hu, a researcher who led the Wuhan Institute of Virology's gain-of-function research, funded by Dr. Fauci. Sources within the U.S. government say that 3 of the earliest people to become infected with SARS-CoV-2 were Ben Hu, Yu Ping, and Yan Zhu. All were members of the Wuhan lab suspected to have leaked the virus. Also, the Wuhan Laboratory of Biology was taken over by the Chinese military as soon as the leak occurred. And China then shut down all inquiries into the lab. And China then shut down the entire lab. And then they got rid of all the evidence. The original strand of COVID, you can't find it because they've all been destroyed or hidden in secret. Gain-of-function research conducted at the Wuhan Institute of Virology in eastern China has widely been suspected as the source of the pandemic. What we're doing with the Wuhan Institute of Virology is taking dangerous, scary viruses and making them scarier. In basic terms, the point of gain-of-function research is to make a virus more dangerous. Scientists argue that this research, they can be prepared to handle it if one day the virus were to mutate naturally. Oh, got it. Or they could just make their own viruses and not have to worry about nature. This is hysterical. Look at this. This is Peter Daszak right there. The World Health Organization team investigating the origins of COVID. This is the guy who created COVID. Oh, I'm going to go. Oh, lucky for me, I have to find myself in this investigation. It's going to be real hard. I'm going to have to look in the mirror. It's Peter Daszak, scumbag, runs EcoHealth Alliance. That's him right there. This is the guy who launders the money from Dr. Fauci to the Wuhan Institute of Virology. You paid for it. You paid for all this. There is the compound right there. FBI Director Christopher Wray told Brett Baer this March that COVID-19 most likely came from a Chinese lab. The FBI has quite for some time now assessed that the origins of the pandemic is a potential lab leak. Here you're talking about a potential leak from the Chinese government-controlled lab. It's so easy to see what happened here that even Jon Stewart, block of wood Jon Stewart, is saying we owe a deep gratitude to science for treating this disease that was basically caused by science. Yeah. He said this on the Stephen Colbert Show. It's one of the funniest clips ever. It's copyright, so we can't play it. They'll take our video down if we play it. But I can talk to you about it based on this Rolling Stone article. Hysterical. Stewart went on to say that he was grateful for scientific advancement in treating this disease that was basically caused by science. That's what he's talking about. He's talking about these scientists creating COVID, which led to a chaotic discussion about the theory of COVID-19 pandemic created within the lab in Wuhan, China. Stewart would go on to say, wow, if there's a chocolate avalanche, a chocolate tsunami in Hershey, Pennsylvania, would somebody blame the giant chocolate factory? Yes, you would. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, they're lying to you. They think that you're stupid chattel and that you will just eat out of your feed bags for the rest of your life and you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. Are they wrong? Wake up. Wake up to what actually happened with the COVID-19 trial run, ladies and gentlemen. This should all be stopped immediately, and we should have a new Nuremberg trial for the people who did this to us, our global economy, our children's future, and who will gladly do it again because they haven't stopped funding this research. None of this stuff's been shut down. Insanity. Insanity. Suicidal insanity. Truly. For a little more common sense, like, share, and subscribe to our channel. See ya.